Hi and welcome back. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. In this video, following from the last video, I'm going to show you how to make some hills. There are two methods to make the hills. I'm only going to show you one today because the other method involves another material, but that's literally a one-hit wonder, so you have to do everything in one go, but we'll get on to that in another video. The first thing you're going to need is a piece of this. Okay, this is a polystyrene board. It's used for insulation. I believe it's 20 mils thick or 25 mils thick, something like that. What you want to do is you want to cut a rough shape. Okay, just a rough shape. Doesn't matter, doesn't have to look sexy, doesn't look fantastic, just rough shape. Then you can either have that as your hill. Obviously we'll do more to it than just have it as that. Or you can do what I've done here and cut another shape, okay, to make a two-tier hill. Okay, then what we do, you put it on top, dry fit it, don't glue nothing like that, just put it on top. And I've drawn, I don't know if you can see that, I've drawn around the shape. So I know when I come to glue it, I know where it's going to go, how it's going to look. Okay, then we get a blade, we bevel all the edges, just bevel the edges all the way around, okay, on this piece and on the second tier piece. Okay, then you're ready for filler mixing. So what you do is, as I've shown you in the previous video, you get a bit of filler mix, you get a filler, a bit of water, and what you want to do is do it all along the joins here. Clear all these joins, and to give all of this bit that you've beveled a rocky look. So when you paint it, you can paint like rock and it looks fantastic, it's great. But the second reason for doing this along here is to get rid of the join line between the second tier and the bottom tier. Okay, so it looks like one piece then. When you've done that, you have to let it dry. Once it's dried, you then give it the spray, the underspray like I told you in the last couple of videos. So then you're left with a piece that looks like this. Okay, pretty straightforward. I've done all the joins, done all the way around. Then what I done was I got a black brush, a brush and some black paint, and I just went into the bits that were missed. Okay, so as you can see, it's darker in some places and lighter in others and stuff like that. That's what you want, because then when you put the flock onto it, it's going to be give you, if you can see through the flock, it's going to be different variations of what you're doing. Then I dry brushed the edges with a grey, light grey, and then a little bit of ivory. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to flocking it. And I'm going to show you how you flock it, and it's simple, nice and easy. And then once that's done, I'm going to move on to some pretty pictures of other hills that I've done. And yeah, so I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'm going to set up so you can see what I'm doing. What you'll need is a sieve. Okay, I've got some dark green flock, some 2 mils stacked grass, and I got my trusty old mixed flock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some PVA glue on. Don't be shy of it, because you'll spread it out in a second. Okay. So I've got squid. Oh, I got this from a box of filler. I've only ever got one of them, so that's what I'm doing. Just spread it out. Try and get as close as you can, up to as much as the edges you can get. You don't want to particularly go too much onto the stone, because you want to try and leave that looking as it is, because with the stone, the way you've painted it and the static grass and all that, they will pop each other and look great. Get some more on there. That was the PVA glue, honestly. Now, clear all this. Right, this is where we're at, okay? There's a bit at the back there that started to try and run off. So I'll get my lolly stick and I'll start spreading it out a bit more. It doesn't matter if you do get it on the stone, that's not the end of the world, because the grass is going to try and grow everywhere. Stone, up the side of it, everywhere. What you want to try and do with this PVA, mostly, is cover the bits where there's still polyboard, the polystyrene board. You're not going to, but you haven't put the filler mix on, or the filler mix isn't that thick onto it, because you want to try and get rid of those polystyrene balls. There we go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for the clump foliage first of all. Put some into here. You don't want too much into it because it's going to go together as soon as you start moving it. And what you want to do is pinch it in your hand, okay, and just push it through the sieve. That's all you want to do. The reason you're doing the clump foliage first and not going straight to take grass, this will sort of give you different height variation when you're finished the grass, but also it will add different colours underneath. So all you want to do with this is just keep going. It's a pain in the backside, but just keep going and give it a light dusting. Just a light dusting everywhere. The more you can get onto it, the better. But you want to do it so that you can sort of see the PVA but not fully see it. Okay, so bear with me whilst I just do this. Just take a little bit of time. With the sieve as well, I mean, you can get shakers and stuff like that, and the shakers are great. They do the job that they're supposed to do. But I just find, especially with clump foliage, putting it through a sieve, just it shreds them to bits and gives you a bit more. You spread it for your money. Yeah, so say you buying a packet of stacked grass and then you're able to do a handful of pieces of terrain. You're actually able to get a lot more with this way. It doesn't have to be the whole thing is covered and everything's perfect, and you know, because any mistakes afterwards, anything you see afterwards, you can just spray it and start carry on. Not start again, but just like add to it. This is a very time consuming process. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish doing this and I'm going to come back to you afterwards. Okay. Right, welcome back. As you can see, look, a light dusting. I don't know if you can see that too well on the camera. Now, you'll notice there's a few clumpy bits. That's because I had too much in my sieve, and as I was sieving it, it came over the top. So that's not too bad. All you do is just push it in, just to give you like a little bushy area. Now when you're doing this, I've got to mention, always have a newspaper underneath, because when you put your flocks on and you tip it to get the excess off, it's on the newspaper. You can then scoop the newspaper up and tip it into your mixed flock jar. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to my mixed flock, which is a mixture of everything, and just go for it. Through the sieve again. This bit is the easiest part, so much easier. But there's bits of flock in stacked grass, there's bits of clump foliage, And what you want to do is just cover everything so there's no white showing. No white PVA glue showing, just keep going, keep going. You want to try and do this as well where there's not a breeze coming through. Because if there's a breeze, it's going to blow it in all wrong directions and it's going to be a pain in the backside. Again, you can do the static grass with a shaker if you want. But for me, spending money to buy a shaker, then I can just do it like this. Takes a little bit longer, but I find that this is just cost effective. Right, now I'm down to the last little bits in here, in the sieve. Now, what I did with a mixed flock, I put a pinch, like a salt, you know, if you put a pinch of salt on something, a pinch of gravel in there. Now, the reason for this is when the mixed flock goes through the sieve, the gravel helps break it up, and if bits of gravel come through, because I'm not painting anything else on here, it actually gives a natural little bit of gravel coming through rather than having to sprinkle gravel on and all that business. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go straight to 2 mil and finish this piece off. This is the easy part. Doing the clump foliage is the hard part. That's so annoying, but you don't need to do that method. I just find that a nice little step because it gives you different variations in the ground. And so when you see, I don't know if you can how well you can see this now, but yeah, let me tip it up. Yeah, when I tip that fully, loose stuff's going to come off. Okay, now I find that when that comes off, it's going to be easier with bits of clump foliage underneath, and when you reapply bits of bits of grass here and there, it's going to give you different heights. Okay, now I can already see this bit here and this bit here, which I'll show you in a second. That looks like clumps of grass where it's just where you have bushes and stuff growing through. So just almost done. I'm going to try and just get rid of every single bit of white PVA glue with grass. Now if you get this on the stonework, it's not a big deal, okay? Chances are it'll just come off. If it doesn't come off, it's just looking like the grass is starting to grow up on the stone. Right, so that's all that. Right, I'm going to try and lift this so you can see it without tipping any extra flock off. Okay. Now, what I do is I usually leave this to dry. I then tip it. Okay, other people tip it first and then apply whatever. So I'm going to tip it. I'm going to show you tips now so you can see what I mean. But I would myself personally, I would leave it to dry. I would tip it. I would then spray it with water down PVA glue and just reapply flock here and there as needed. I'm going to show you. Okay, there's still a little bit loose flock on there. Okay, it doesn't look, it looks okay. It doesn't look that great. I mean, I can see bits of white PVA glue here. Again, that's going to dry clear. But for me, now that I've done that, what I'm going to do, this is watered down PVA and water, give it a good shake. And I'm just going to apply a little bit here and there. Like the other spray that I use for the underspray, this isn't a jet, it's a mist. Okay, And then I'm going to take some more stacked grass. I'm just going to give it a gentle over the top, just to get rid of all of the little bits of white that I can see. Okay. Again, with this, because I tipped it, now we're going to have different clump areas. So there's going to be clump foliage and stacked grass clumped together in certain little areas. And because I sprayed it, anything that hits the rock now, with any of that spray on, it's going to stick to the rock. It's going to look amazing. When I show you the pictures afterwards of the other stuff that I've already done, you're going to go, oh yeah, that's good, that's good. But okay, fed up making hills. I made so many different hills, different types and different variations. I'm so sick of making hills now. But for the purpose of you guys and for the video, I said to myself, let me do it. Let me show you guys how to make a basic hill. Because I've seen players play before. We cut the DVDs with a green cloth over it. And it's like, okay, that's not... it looks a bit weird. It's not the best thing to do, but okay. Right. So here's where we're at. Okay. Now, you could leave that to dry. Then you could either put a bit you could leave it to dry, put a bit of PVA glue here and there, and you could put some of the dark clump foliage. Just clump it together, put it down there, and use it like little bushes. I don't see the need for that. I mean, if you're going to do that, I would advise doing it along the edge of where they join, just because if you've got it all over here and you've got your troops on it, it's gonna be knocked off, and it's gonna, when this is dry and it's finished, I give it a good spray of the water down PVA glue all over. Now, if there's, again, I'll tip it first and then I'll give it a spray down. If there's any areas that are missing, I will then give that a little tidy up with some stacked grass and then give it another spray down. Now, you could leave it to dry and then get a matte varnish. I know what you're going to say, but your polystyrene baseboard, oh no, you've painted it. You've PVA glued it. You've flocked it. So there should not be any gaps on there for anything, and you've got filler mix on there as well. So there should not be any gaps on there for the aerosol to get into and melt the polystyrene. Okay? But when you do it, you want to spray it from a distance. So only the end of the spray hits the stacked grass. And what that does to the stacked grass, the aerosol, the matte varnish, it'll make it stand up. And it'll look absolutely amazing. It'll just, wow. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope that's been of some help. They're easy to make from start to finish, from you carving it and, till you finished it. You're probably only working on it maybe half an hour to 45 minutes. Okay? With the flocks, you're probably talking about an hour and a half. So from carving to finishing flocking, an hour and a half for a nice piece of terrain, that's not too bad. It's just waiting for the filler mix to dry, the glue where you pin and glue the second tier to it. I don't know if I mentioned that pinning, but if I haven't, I'm going to slip it in here. If I have, then don't worry about it. I'm just repeating myself. To put the second tier on, get a cocktail stick, cut it in half. This is the way you draw around it, and you push half of it into the first tier. Okay, so I think this one has 3 inside it, 1 in each corner, and then you put PVA glue into the bit where you've drawn around where your piece is going to go, and then you push the top piece on, and the cocktail stick will hold it together and pin it together. If I mention it already, then not a problem, but if I haven't, that's how you do that. Thanks for watching. I'm going to move on to the finished pieces that I've already done, so you have a good look at that. I'll see you in a second. Right, here we are. Now, these 2 pieces here, as well as this piece, is made with a different material, and I'll be covering that in a later video. So I've just put them there so you can see I've got more of these but bigger versions. Now, there's a nice round heel. Okay. There's a massive heel, 2-tier. Another round heel. There's another 2-tier, but this isn't table edge. Okay. I say table edge, I mean corner edge. I'll show you one of those in a second. There's a nice 2-tier there. Now, where I said before with the underspray, and you put your PVA glue, your black paint, blue wash, purple wash, whatever you have at hand, you can see where that pops now. Let's look at the colour here. Now look at the purple on this one. Okay. You can see the difference where they pop. Okay. Now, what we have here, this is a table edge heel. Okay, so it's done with a straight edge. So you just use the straight edge of the polystyrene board, and then you just cut your heel, and you keep this edge straight. So it can sit this side of the table, can sit this side of the table, can sit that side of the table, that side, doesn't matter. And you do the same principle, but for a corner heel. Now this one over here, I'm not even going to touch it, because that was my first attempt at doing heels, and it's okay. I'm just not 100% happy with it. I leave it here to remind me of my failure and to show me where I went wrong and everything else. But here is another one. Again, this is not the best one I've done. I went through a wet effect. I don't know if you can see where there's like lines in the grass. And there's a bit of experimentation. But again, the sides to it, flat. And it's a corner heel because this is a 90-degree angle. Okay, top tier and bottom tier. That corner is 90-degree angle, so it can fit in literally any corner of the battlefield you want it to. Okay. Now, I hope this has helped you. If you like this video, please hit the like, share, subscribe, and switch on those notifications, because we've got some good builds coming up. There's a lot of things that I want to show you and a lot of things going on. So please just support the channel. Cheers. Bye-bye.